Welcome to Beyond the Spot. I'm Melissa Thornley, and I'm really excited because I'm here talking with Sara Goehner, art director, animator, and she has a very interesting story to tell us. How did you originally get started in the business?
Right when I finished high school, I went straight into community college and took some broadcast communications classes. From editing, I got a few jobs. From there, another company picked me up, said, would you like to try your hand in motion graphics, basically? We don't have a full-time position for an editor, so if you want to do editing and motion graphics, we'd love to have you and get you some training. I, for a while, was very hesitant to get too much into the motion graphics. My hesitation in the beginning was a lack of knowledge, and then once I started getting a little momentum going, it was like, oh man, this is cool, and I could actually design stuff too and make it move. That's when I really got this spark in me that just made me want to learn so much more. I think art directing piece is really cool too. Without doing the animation, you can kind of hone in on this vision. All you've been focusing on is making sure everything just looks perfect. I love that feeling too. I've never looked back. I kind of learned more and more motion graphics, and now that's my focus totally. I haven't edited in a while.
So what inspires your work?
I love what I do because there is an endless amount of styles that you can work in, endless amounts of ways you can tell a story. Animation is so cool because you never are going to know everything there is to know about it. That's what keeps me inspired. You can always learn something new or try new techniques. I worked on a really cool piece for Glass Mountain, which is a wine company, and they were actually really cool and let us take a lot of creative freedom. We came up with an animation that was about the feeling of it, and it was just kind of a cool one long camera move through these mountains.
Where are you currently working?
I am currently working and residing in Chicago, Illinois. I work for Big Teeth Productions, which is up in Ravenswood.
Tell me about this next move, this next era in your career. What are you doing?
So in this coming February, I'm going to be moving out to California and renovating an Airstream.
When we met, one of the first things like, oh yeah, I'm going to be working from an Airstream and I'm going to be riding all over the United States and just having this big adventure. What gave you the idea to do this?
This last Christmas I went home to visit my family, and the company that I work for now had a project come up that they couldn't find another freelancer to do, so I took it on as freelance, set up shop in my family's beach house, and I'm just looking at the beautiful ocean, and that was my office for a week. That's kind of when I decided if this project worked out and was so successful and I was able to do it remotely, I could take the show on the road and kind of have more control of my future and my creative projects.
Have you kind of mapped out where this Airstream is going to go?
Well, my girlfriend and I have like a giant map in our guest room right now, and we've just scribbled all over it with vis-a-vis markers, like wet erase markers. So we kind of have a rough idea of where we want to go. You obviously have to plan based on the weather.
That is so cool.
And we're going to drive around in it. We're not just going to park it there and live in it. We're going to actually tow it around the country to either places that want us to come for contract work, or we can work from national parks and work remotely. Doing animation, illustration, graphic design, motion graphics, all from this Airstream full time.
So what gave you like the guts to make the call?
I don't know, I've kind of always just taken risks in my career. Every job I've taken, every job I've quit has always been like a giant risk. And if you don't take risks, then you just end up staying in positions or places that aren't going to be the most creatively inspiring for you.
What has the process been? What are the steps that you have to take?
We actually thought that this was this brilliant idea and nobody else had ever had this idea, but there's a ton of people doing it. The moment we decided that this is what we wanted to do, and the moment I realized that this was something I was going to be able to do from anywhere, I told my full-time job. They were sad, but also excited for me. And then I started freelancing on the side, and I've been taking on more and more freelance. We've just gained a little momentum. We've been doing a ton of research on the side, going on road trips to go see old Airstreams.
So now how do you need to trick this Airstream out in order to make it a living space and a workspace? As a designer, as an animator, as an art director, you want your office, it like becomes your brand.
We have drawn a lot of inspiration from certain architecture firms that are actually specializing in revamping these things for people. They have done some amazing things. We're talking about having our dining room table be like also a drafting table that comes up on a hinge. And we're gonna trick it out with all the bells and whistles that we're gonna need to work from anywhere in the US. Special internet, special computer. We're actually building a Lego backsplash for our kitchen because I'm, for whatever reason, obsessed with Legos, always have been.
Yeah, I suppose there's a whole culture around it. There's a whole
There really
Airstream
is.
culture.
There's a huge following.
What's the working title for your company?
Aluminum Hustle.
Aluminum Hustle.
Yes, for Aluminum
I love
Hustle.
that.
We haven't even hit the road yet, and we already have like 250 followers on Instagram.
How do we follow you on Instagram?
It's just all one word, Aluminum Hustle. Hustle Creative also, all one word, is going to be where I post all of my design and animation and all that.
So there'll be a place to follow the lifestyle of the Aluminum
Right.
Hustle, and there'll also be a place to follow the creative work as well.
Yep.
Now, these 3 questions go together. They're sequential, and I'm especially excited to ask you about it because of what's going on for you. So the first question is, where do you come from?
I come from a wonderfully loving family in California.
Where are you going?
Anywhere I possibly can. I'm going to go all around the US, and nothing can stop me.
Excellent. And now, what keeps you going?
I feel like I've come really far in my career. I feel like I'm really on the brink of something awesome that I'm going to be able to work for myself. And I feel like I'm going places. I feel like that keeps me going, you know?
Thanks again for joining us, Sara.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is a cool opportunity.